Hi! In this video, we are going to present an automated approach to set up a Skupper network, enabling multi-cloud communication across Kubernetes clusters. If you are not yet familiar with Skupper, it provides secure and transparent access to services running in different clusters with no special permissions required. Therefore, a regular Kubernetes namespace admin can link different clusters together using Skupper. You can learn more about Skupper by visiting its website at skupper.io. The example we are going to show is called Hello World, and it can be found at the examples page in the Skupper website. In this example, we are going to use two namespaces, West and East. In the West namespace, we will deploy an application named Frontend, which depends upon a REST API that is expected to run at the hostname backend and listen on port 8080. In the East namespace, we are going to deploy the backend application. Supposing that the frontend application is running and we try to access it at this point, then we are going to see an error as the backend application is not responding at the expected URL. After both applications have been deployed in their respective namespaces, we need to solve the communication gap and ensure that the expected hostname, backend, is reachable for the front-end application. And that's when Skupper comes in. If we were following the Hello World example from the Skupper website, we would need to perform a few manual tasks like initialize Skupper in the West and East namespaces, make sure that the backend application is exposed as a Skupper service in the East namespace, then create a token in the West namespace, and using that token, create a Skupper link in the East namespace so that both Skupper sites are linked. But in this demo, we want to demonstrate how to automate all the previous steps required to create your Skupper network. And to do that, we are going to use Ansible with a very low effort needed. First, we need to look at the Ansible inventory file, which declares the two Skupper sites and their respective definitions. In the West namespace, we have the front-end service, which has a target to the front-end deployment, and the back-end service, which does not define a target, as the actual target is running at the East namespace, so Skupper will handle the access to the actual application. Looking at the East namespace, we have the backend service defined with a target to the backend deployment, and it also has a link defined to the West namespace. Well, that's all we need. Next, we need to run a playbook that does two things. First, it creates the namespaces and deploys the respective applications on each namespace. Then, it imports an Ansible role that configures the Skupper network on both namespaces. Now, let's get this whole example up and running. In your terminal, run the following command line and wait for it to complete. Now that it's done, the Hello World example is expected to be running. We need to get the IP address of the front-end service and open it in the web browser. So, let's access the front-end application and see if it works. As you can see, it's working as expected. The front-end service on the West namespace is able to access the back-end application running on the East namespace through Skupper. Hope you find this useful. Thank you.